Have you ever noticed how summers as a kid felt endless, but now as an adult, entire months seem to vanish in the blink of an eye? One minute it's January, and the next thing you know it, you're unpacking the decorations for Christmas and Halloween. I've been thinking a lot about that lately, especially since I started something brand new back in January, creating this YouTube channel. And let me tell you, time has felt different ever since. So today I'm going to explore why time speeds up as we get older and how we can slow it down by bringing more novelty, purpose, and presence back into our lives. Hi, I'm John, and welcome back to my channel, In John's Universe. All right, let me go on with this. When we were young, life was one big adventure. I could still remember the first time I rode a bike without training wheels. My dad was with me and he held on, and I shouted, "Don't let me go, don't let me go." And of course, he let me go. And suddenly I was flying down the sidewalk on my own. And I did pretty good. I didn't fall that day, but yeah, he pulled a fast one on me as far as I remember. But that memory is still burned into my mind because it was a first. Another first was my first day at kindergarten. My dad was out on disability for a bit, and I remember him taking me to kindergarten, my first day of school. And I can still remember going to kindergarten and looking out the window, and my father was peering in the window like this, looking at me from the outside. And I guess I felt abandoned, but all the other kids in the class felt the same way. And we had a nice teacher, so the first day went all right. Uh, but that still left an indelible mark on my mind, and I still remember it to this day. I wanted to insert this in there. I have forgotten it in the base of my main video, but I can still remember the first time my mother got mad at me, really mad at me. I was a kid, and she had to take me to the dentist. And when I got into the dentist chair, he had to pull my tooth, and I would not let him pull it. And I just would not open up my mouth. I kept covering it with my hands. So my mother got a little upset with me on the way out of the dentist's office because I embarrassed her. And she she had an umbrella. It was raining that day, and I can still remember, I was in front of her going down the stairs, and she was hitting me on the shoulder with the umbrella, and I got water all over me, and, she was mad at me, and that was a first for her hitting me with the umbrella. She didn't hurt me, but she was embarrassed, and then ultimately, my grandmother took me. I did the same thing. I did not open up my mouth, and she got mad at me too, but she didn't yell at me that bad. Make a long story short, it's a good thing that that dentist did not pull that particular tooth at the time because the roots had wrapped around the jawbone, and I had to go to a specialist to have it done. The specialist said if the dentist had pulled it, he could have ruined that jawbone at that side. So things happen for a reason in life, and I could still remember my mother. She was only 4'11", hit me with that damn umbrella. And when I got home, she was, talking to my father about it. And my father just shrugged his shoulder because he didn't like the dentist either, but he didn't take me. He just come home from work and he just shook his head. Other things, teenage years, same thing. Your first love, your first heartbreak, your first job, your driver's license, your car. Each milestone felt like a massive whole new chapter in your life. And honestly, starting this channel gave me a taste of that again. It felt like the first day of school moment all over again. I was nervous. I was excited. It was full of unknowns. And that kind of novelty stretches time. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is entitled The Shrinking Slice. But as we age, time seems to speed up. And here's why. At 5 years old, 1 year is 20% of your life. Imagine a pizza cut into 5 slices. Each is big, filling, and essential. That's what a year feels like at that age. However, by the age of 70, 1 year is less than 1.5% of your life. Now that pizza has 70 skinny slices, One year just feels like a sliver of that pie. Let me explain that a little bit more. Pro- the proportional slice of time. And here's another way to picture it. I'm going to use that pizza analogy again. When you're 5, 1 year is 20% of your whole life. That's just like taking a pizza, cutting it into 5 slices, and saying, this slice is the whole year that I've just lived. It feels massive because it is massive in proportion to your entire existence. Now, fast forward that. At age 70, 1 year is less than 1.5% of your life. That same pizza has has 70 thin slices. A single slice looks tiny compared to the whole pie, and that's when something feels small. Our brain doesn't register it with the same weight, and that's why at 70, a year doesn't feel as long as it was at a year at 5. It's just one small sliver of the bigger picture. I mean, look at it this way. When you're 10, that pizza's sliced into 10 different slices. When you're 20, it's sliced into 20 different slices. So you can see what I'm talking about. As you age, each slice is smaller and smaller. I first noticed this when I looked back and thought, didn't I just celebrate my last birthday? That's how fast the slices feel now. But here's the kicker. When I started making YouTube videos, that slice suddenly became fuller again. Every new skill that I learned, whether it be lighting, figuring out editing, hitting upload for the first time, made the year feel stretched and more alive. And you can put that with any hobby or anything that you want to do that's different. You don't necessarily have to start a YouTube channel. Whatever you do different, whatever hobby you delve into, if it's something new, it gives your brain more activity to look forward to and to assimilate that information. Habitual habits and the brain's efficiency. As kids, our brains are busy wiring new pathways. Everything takes new focus, so everything sticks. But as adults, our brains become efficient. We run on autopilot with the same routines, the roads, the shows. Whole weeks can blur together. You know, you go food shopping every week, you go to work every day, you do this every day. So it's kind of a mundane type activity. I've had times where I've looked up and I thought, what happened to this month? What happened to this year? But once I committed it to YouTube, I had to shake up my routine. I had to start writing scripts, practicing delivery, recording, and editing. None ran on autopilot. And that's precisely why it slowed time down for me. My brain had to stay awake, stay present. Got to keep your brain active. You got to give it something to do. And starting something new will do that. All right, as we get older, we also stop hitting milestones. We stop hitting significant external milestones, I should say. We're not graduating every few years or earning new first as we did in our youth. Instead, birthdays and the holidays roll around and sometimes they blur together. Not too long ago, I thought, wait, wasn't I blowing out candles? How am I doing this again? That's how repetitive time can be. I don't blow out candles anymore because if I blew out the candles, I'd probably fall over and collapse from lack of oxygen because the next birthday will be 79, and I don't know if I have enough strength to blow out 79 candles. But now I mark time differently. I don't just think, oh, that was last year. I turned 78. I think that was the year I launched my channel. Suddenly, my timeline has new markers again. The gift of perspective. And this brings me to the silver lining. We may not have as many automatic firsts anymore, but we can create them. Novelty doesn't have an age limit. In January, I could have just said, I'm too old for YouTube. But instead, I said, yeah, why not? Now, those first few weeks trying to figure out thumbnails, recording my first video, putting myself out there made the whole month feel rich and alive. And I still enjoy it. I look forward to coming to the days where I can get in here and record my videos. I spent hours researching what I'm going to say. My delivery is still a little herky-jerky, but that's all right. You understand what I'm trying to say, and I'm not making excuses for it. This is the way it is, and a lot of times I'll read my script because at my age, I just can't remember going from one thought to the next. All right, this is just going to add on to the last thing that I talked about. That's the power of doing something new. It just doesn't give you a hobby. It stretches time. It creates memory anchors and makes life more meaningful. The real gift of perspective as we age is realizing it's not about chasing endless milestones. It's about being intentional. People over possessions, experiences over accumulation, depth over speed. YouTube has reminded me of that. Every time I learn something new, I feel the spark I had as a kid discovering the world. And believe me, I spend a lot of time researching. Every day I'm trying to learn something about YouTube, to try to make it better. I try to make my delivery better. That's not always the case because I don't have a good memory anymore. People say, well, why don't you just put cue cards up? Yeah, I'll put cue cards up and I'll look at the headings on the cue cards and I'll look at them. I was like, good God, what else was I supposed to say other than what's the heading on the cue card? I can't remember. And that's why I use a script and I refer to the script quite often. Uh, it's the way I have to do it. But I get my point across. So in closing, yes, time may feel like it's speeding up, but we don't have to let it pass unnoticed. We can slow it down by choosing novelty, being present, and creating new markers. That's why I started this channel, to push myself into a new territory and share what I'm learning with you. So let me leave you with this question. How will you use your time today? Will it pass in a blur or will you make it unforgettable? If this video resonated with you, please like it. There's a like thumbs up someplace over here somewhere. Uh, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and share it with somebody who might need a reminder to slow down. Also, if you're an existing subscriber, I do appreciate you coming back and listening to me. Hopefully, I've gotten out some good content for you to follow along with, and I appreciate you sticking with me and bearing with me, whatever I have to say. I try to come up with something different every week, and I think it's important. And hopefully, if you have any ideas, any comments that you want to put in, please leave them in the comment section. Uh, all comments are read. I try to respond to them in a quick manner. And a lot of people, other people see the comments. So whatever you put in there, other people see. Hit me with some ideas of things that you'd like to hear me talk about. And there's a notifications bell, and no, the notifications bell is over this side. Oh, yeah. It's over this side along with the subscribe button. If you hit that notifications bell, you'll be notified anytime I put up a new YouTube video. And it gives you advance notification that John got a new video that's coming out. And hopefully you'll get into that, you'll look at it and you'll enjoy it, and you'll leave me a like on there. Again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And thank you for spending some time with me again today. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.